This is interesting. Oh, hi. How are you? Sorry, I was just reading my new book. We got a lot to talk about coming up next on the PHLY Eagles podcast. Fran Duffy in studio, Shaq Barrett on the scene. It's all coming up next. Hello, ho, 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 everybody, and welcome to the PHLY Eagles podcast on a Thursday afternoon, December 26th. Bo Wulf, Fran Duffy in studio, Zach Berman going to join us in about a half an hour with the scoop from the NovaCare Complex, and of course, it's all presented by the good folks at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Duff man, how you doing? How was your Christmas?
It was good. It was a lot of fun. We had Francis had a great time. We had a bunch of family over the house yesterday for dinner, so it was good. How about you guys?
Did you cook?
I did.
What'd you make?
So I did. My dad every Christmas, not every Christmas, but most Christmases would do chicken breast with prosciutto and mozzarella inside.
Oh, nice. Inside, not layered?
Yeah, no,
okay.
like butterflied and stuffed inside, buckled,
nice.
Like a toothpick or twine. I did some twined it
Okay.
back up, fried it for a little bit, threw in the oven.
That sounds
good.
great.
We had 20 people over, so people got there at like 2:00, and they were like, "This is a lot of chicken. There's a lot of chicken in the kitchen," but we got it done. It was good. And Meg did a couple different pasta options, so it was good. Everyone left happy.
That sounds great.
Seems everybody left happy. Can't speak for them, but.
We could go in like a much deeper philosophical way here, but we'll move on.
How was it for you guys?
We'll save that for another day. It was fantastic. It was just the four of us this year at home.
Yep.
Had a great time. Kids were over the moon.
Nice.
Great. Yeah. All right, let's get to the Eagles news of the day. Fran, and the Eagles, as Jalen Hurts remains in the concussion protocol. And yesterday, the Eagles did not practice, but they had the approximation, and in that, it said that Kenny Pickett would have been limited with a ribs injury. And so, with some quarterback intrigue, the Eagles making the move to sign Ian Book, our old friend, to the practice squad. And also, by the way, a bit of a Lou Nichols return to the practice squad, which we're all very excited about. Zach will tell us what they're looking like on the practice field. But my question to you is your antenna up a little bit about the Pickett situation? Do you view the Ian Book signing now? If one of the quarterbacks can't play on Sunday, the Eagles can elevate Ian Book to the a game day active roster, but he can't be the emergency third quarterback. Those are the rules. He has to be part of the 48-man active roster. But do you view Ian Book as a hedge on if Jalen can't play, or if maybe there's a little bit more to this Kenny Pickett injury than is being understood?
It also could just be that they don't have enough arms to get through practice. It could literally be like, all right, we need a we need a second quarterback out there because Jalen can't practice right now, and if Pickett is limited or they want to put him on ice to get him to Sunday, that they need a second arm to get through the week.
Yeah, that's true.
It could be that aspect too.
Okay, yeah, that's true, and yeah, I mean, I guess we'll find out from Zach about Pickett, but I don't know. I'm a little bit.
You're just jitter. You just want Tanner McKee. That's all.
Well, of course I want Tanner McKee, and but I do. I think there could be a little bit more going on here.
Okay.
I mean, they didn't practice yesterday, so we don't know.
Yes.
And if Kenny Pickett is, I mean, if it's a real rib injury, that affects every part of his game, and I would think that the team would rather have Tanner McKee at quarterback in that situation, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I did see Kenny Pickett walk through the locker room on Tuesday.
Right.
He wasn't wearing like a
flak jacket,
flak jacket or anything like that. But I didn't necessarily tap him in the ribs either.
Going for a bear hug, right. And obviously Nick Sirianni gave nothing today at his press conference. He's going to leave that up to the imagination. Yeah, I mean, I kind of go back and forth on it, and we'll hear from Zach in a little bit. I do feel like, unless we've heard, there hasn't been any reporting that it's a severe rib injury. My guess is that he's going to play. That would be my guess. It's
my guess too, but I don't think it is a fait accompli like it is being assumed that if Jalen can't go, it's Pickett with the rib injury. I don't know. I'm just a little bit. My antenna's up.
Okay. When your antenna's up, that usually means something.
Okay. I don't know. This is not reporting. This is just.
Of course.
I feel a little bit. I don't know. We've been through enough rounds of that, and they also haven't had to There's been no proof yet.
Of course, that's the big thing because
right,
weird week,
and it's very much like, oh well, we're not going to get into that. All that stuff. I don't know. All right, how are you feeling about this matchup, this Dallas Cowboys team?
It's a little lackluster because Dallas obviously has not. They're eliminated from playoff contention. But this is a team that has won 4 of their last 5 games. They are playing better on both sides of the football. They still have a lot of injuries on defense. The last time these two teams played in Week 10, they were still ravaged by injuries on defense. Now it's just a different set of players. Parsons made his debut, or not his debut, but made his return to the lineup in that Week 10 game. Clearly was not 100%, but still managed a couple sacks against Jalen Hurts. So you get a fully healthy Micah Parsons, no Trayvon Diggs, no DeMarvion Overshown, who's turned into a nice playmaker for them. So they're still missing players, but look, they're playing hard. They're getting better play out of Cooper Rush than what the Eagles saw back in Week 10. And the run game has performed a little bit better. So they're getting a little bit better play. Obviously, the wins have shown up, but I still, at the end of the day, this team doesn't have a ton of teeth for the reasons that we've talked about, really going back to the summer.
Yeah, well, let's get into it because once Zach comes on, I'm sure we'll get into more of the newsy stuff, and then of course Swooper, as we have some potential controversy, but we'll get into that. So just split this up into first 11 weeks versus the last 5 weeks. So the Cowboys are 4-1 over the last 5 weeks, right? On offense, it's been better, but not a huge jump. They went from 29th in EPA per drive to 18th in EPA per drive over the last 5 games. Jumped from 24th in success rate to 18th in success rate. Better, but not a huge jump. Defensively, base rate wise, like play-by-play basis, success rate, they're basically the exact same. They actually were 16th the first 11 weeks, and they're now 17th the last 5 weeks. But EPA per drive, they have jumped up hugely from 29th to 9th. And the big reason for that, they're still allowing explosive plays at a relatively high rate. They were 28th in explosive play rate allowed. Now they're 18th. The big difference is turnovers.
Yes.
The entire team, they went from minus 11 the first 11 games of the season, which was tied for second worst in the league. They'd given it away 20 times, only taken it away 9. Last 5 weeks, they're plus 8. And that is like the whole difference in their success. They've only given it away 4 times. They've taken it away 12 times, which is more than they had the first 10 games combined. So that's the big difference here.
Yep.
Are they doing anything that you see defensively, schematically to make that happen? Or is it as simple as Micah Parsons is back and that's just the way that the ball bounces?
And also the fact that when the Eagles, one thing I'll do as I put my notes together every week, especially when you have a repeat opponent like this one, where I'll go back and reread through those notes. All right, what are some of the things that are showing up? Dallas and Dak Prescott in particular, they were a little bit of a cold streak in turning the football over. And now you're seeing that Cooper Rush, I think he's thrown 1 pick in the last 4 games, something along those lines. I can go through just to pull that number, but I know that in recent weeks he's done a really good job at taking care of the football, and so I think you're getting the defense is forcing turnovers. The offense isn't taking the ball, giving the ball away. And yes, I do think that when Parsons is on the field, you're getting a little bit more disruption, certainly up front. They've got those ball hawks on the back end. Trayvon Diggs not back there, but Deron Bland, who did not play in Week 10, he's there. We know that he's got that ability to take the football away. But yeah, at the end of the day, like this is an opportunistic defense. When they've been at their best in the previous scheme with Dan Quinn, that's what they were based off. It was speed, flying to the football, putting pressure on you, and trying to create turnovers. And while the defense has changed under Mike Zimmer, I think philosophically, like that roster build is still there, where it's still those guys are hell bent on trying to take the football away.
Now, obviously, you can check out the full breakdown that you have, your scouting notes on allphly.com if you're a diehard, which everybody should be. In terms of Micah Parsons, does Mike Zimmer use him in any different way than Dan Quinn?
Yes. One thing that I've noted, I kind of took note as I was watching through all the pressures this week, just watching this Dallas defense, a lot more where he's lined up as a 3 technique, hand in the dirt, just lined up against guards. And to be honest, I'll separate it into 2 things, right? When they've got like the double A gap, when they're sugaring the A gaps there, and they've got linebackers and safeties up on the line of scrimmage, and some of these pressure looks, he lines up inside and he's tough because you're dictating a one-on-one in that scenario, right? We talked about it in the last show. When you've got those 2 linebackers up over the A gap, the running back is forced into pass protection. You have one-on-ones across the board. But when it's just the 4 down linemen and you have Micah Parsons in it over the guard, the center, it's easier to double him, right? So at the end of the day, he still can get those wins when he's one-on-one. But when he gets double teamed by 2 offensive linemen, he does. That's not really his game. He wants to play in space. He wants to try and get the edge. So if he can't get the edge on you early, then you can kind of take him out. And just kind of going through his numbers just this morning, just to kind of backtrack that, his quick pressure rate is down. In terms of how often he's able to get those quick pressures, how often he's able to defeat double teams. That's down because the double teams he would get before would be like a tackle and a tight end, a tackle and a running back. Now it's a guard and a center more often than not. Sometimes it's a tackle and a guard. Now we're still only talking 8 to 10 snaps a game, right? So where he gets moved inside over the guard, but still overall, he's going to line up over Lane Johnson. He's still going to he will get moved around a little bit, but most of the reps are going to come against Lane. We know what that matchup's going to look like. But at the end of the day, when he does move inside, if it's not with a pressure look, I don't think it's going as well as they would like. But that said, when it is a pressure look, to be honest, if it's Kenny Pickett, if it's Tanner McKee, whoever that is, and honestly, even Jalen Hurts over these last few weeks, I think if you're you want to try and give those pressure looks as often as you can against this Eagles offense. They've shown issues with the protection plan. Certainly last week, we highlighted a couple of those in Monday's show. I think we'll see plenty of that in this game from this Dallas defense.
How do, in your memory, the Micah Parsons, Lane Johnson matchups usually go?
Lane is so good against those top rushers. When he's going up against the best of the best, the Bosa's,
Julia, we're trying to do a show here.
Parsons. When he's going up against, she's back today for the first time. She hasn't produced since Friday. Give her a break.
She's rusty. You forgot you're not supposed to just make a bracket in the background.
It's not even the air conditioner going off now. But yeah, when Lane gets up, look, he's great against everybody, but when he goes up against these A1 rushers, he always does well. And then they've also done a really good job of game planning for Micah Parsons. We've seen the run game go right at him, the RPOs, the play action, the misdirection.
The classic 2022 game was the if you can't block him, read him.
Right, all that stuff it becomes a factor when you're going up against that defense and certainly that player.
And so for the Eagles in this game, with uncertainty at quarterback, and not having been able to have a sustained running game last week after Jalen Hurts went down, do you think they will be able to do that in this game?
For every metric, every next level metric, this Dallas defense is horrid against the run. It's terrible against the run. And
also personnel wise, it's a known thing that their defensive tackles are the worst in football.
Yeah, right? Their defensive tackles are not great. Their corners have been really bad against the run all year. I think when you look at Eric Kendricks, who's banged up, didn't play last week. He's certainly slower than what he was.
It's like flying back and forth doing the press for shrinking.
Right. Right. Maris Lufau, the rookie from Notre Dame, he plays a lot, and it's a rookie linebacker, so you can get after him a little bit. I think when you look at this group, that should be the focal point for this Eagles offense in this game. You're coming off a game where you struggled to run the football. We talked about the issues the offensive line and the tight ends had against Washington. This should be a get-right opportunity, especially given the quarterback situation, the uncertainty there. You would think that they'll lean heavily into the run game in this one.
Do you expect that is what they will game plan to do?
Yeah, that would be my guess, is that you're going to come out and try and run the football and assert yourself on the ground because of having that bad taste in your mouth. Look, if they get into a situation next week, let's say, Minnesota, Detroit, the things don't go their way, the Eagles this week, the number 1 seed's not in play, you don't want to go into the playoffs with the run game not looking great in your last 2 real games. So I think they do want to come out and really make sure that they, that you have that launching point going into the postseason.
Now, do you think that if it is Pickett or McKee or anybody not Jalen Hurts, that we would see a different type of running game? They try to stay to all those shotgun runs last week, mid-game. Do you think we might see an expanded package, maybe some more under center or maybe some more 6 offensive line, which you have hinted at?
Yeah, I mean, the 6-0 line thing would be an adjustment based off the ineffectiveness of the tight ends.
Right.
I think that when you're looking at, Jalen Hurts, I mean, there were times this year, there was that midsection of the season where we were talking about it here on the show, like how often they've been under center. We're starting to see more the under center play action, but also like those duo runs. They've kind of gotten away from that in recent weeks. So I think that might be something that, the duo is like an at-you run for defensive tackles that struggle to hold their ground at the point of attack and move those guys off the ball. Duo is a great answer to go up against those guys. So that could be something we see, whether it's Jalen Hurts, Pickett, McKee, Ian Book, it does either way. Whoever's under center, that should be a viable answer.
Kellen Moore said something that I thought was a little bit interesting on Tuesday when I asked him about what he saw from the running game in the last 3 quarters. And he doesn't usually give much, but he slipped in there that they thought that they were close to getting some of the explosives from the running game. And I think that is an important way to think about the way that they think about the running game, because Saquon has had so many big runs this season that with no Kenny Pickett, it was not necessarily we need to run the ball to sustain drives and hold on to the ball. It was like they thought that was their path to explosive plays. Now, I think I would disagree with that. I mean, even like just the pass interferences that you get. Now, Saquon Barkley did have a 68-yard touchdown run in the first quarter, so you could understand that. But I think it's an important way to think about the way that they think about the running game, is that it's not just the body blows and the body blows, but it's also their hope that that's a way to get explosive plays.
And to me, hearing him say that comment, that was almost like a validation for what we talked about on Monday, where I didn't think that the Eagles got out schemed and those extra box bodies down there, that prevented them from getting. They were literally 1 block away. Oh, if this guy makes this block, if Mekhi Becton makes this block on the kick out, if Grant Calcaterra or CJ Uzomah doesn't do this, then Saquon Barkley goes for 20+ yards. And so to me, I think they're going to come off this thinking, we just did not play well in the second half of this football game up front. That's uncharacteristic. We don't want that taste in our mouths. We need to go back and just kind of reassert ourselves and remind everybody who we are.
All right, let's flip to the other side of the ball before we get to Zach and the break. Cooper Rush, you said, has been better at protecting the ball.
Yep.
Is it as simple as stop CeeDee Lamb, you stop the Cowboys offense?
I think you stop CeeDee Lamb, you certainly stop this pass game.
Okay.
It's a grab bag of other players. I mean, they've got 7 receivers that are on the 53. Obviously, only 5 or 6 are active, any given week. But you stop CeeDee Lamb, this pass game's really not going to burn you. They are doing some better things with CeeDee Lamb, especially after Dak got hurt. Everything with CeeDee Lamb was underneath. I think it was 6 air yards per target with CeeDee Lamb right after the Eagles game. But last week that jumped up to 10. They're starting to kind of expand it a little bit. I think when you look at Cooper Rush, he's not going to wow you from a physical talent standpoint, but he will stand poised in the pocket and deliver a football with bodies bearing down on him. I do think if you can pressure him, if you can make him feel the rush a little bit, you get some hits on him early, I think that his mechanics can kind of go awry, and that's where you can force some of those turnovers. You can force some of the erratic play. Yeah, well, in some may say it that way. Okay. Yeah. I think when you look at Rush, though, he's pushing the ball down the field a little bit more. As I mentioned, a lot of in-breakers. He handled the blitz really, really well. Todd Bowles, they threw a ton of blitzes at him last week, and he answered the bell, was really, really strong against the blitz. So it's not that, blitz him and that's the answer, but you need to pressure him. You need to be able to get hits on Cooper Rush. And that's the thing about this offensive line and this pass game in general. They've done a good job at avoiding pressure. And a lot of that is because I mentioned how often the ball, throws were underneath. He's been getting the ball out quickly, and so it's going to be the coverage has to be able to help the rush out. It will take a full team effort in that way to stop this pass game.
Yeah, I mean, I know that this was what was successful against the Eagles in that Bucs game early in the season, but I feel like get the ball out quick against this defense and the sure tackling that they've had pretty much since is not the best way to attack them.
Yeah, I mean, that was the remember back to that Tampa Bay game. It wasn't just like, oh, the ball's out fast. It was also like guys were wide open, and then the missed tackles. Like, so you had it was such a terrible combination, and so we really haven't seen that. Even last week, you had a couple plays here and there where it's all right, like Terry McLaurin, ran a nice route and got on top of Quinyon Mitchell, Darius Slay. There was the 12 men on the field and the miscommunication there. This is a team that I'm. As I mentioned on Monday, I'm not worried about the state of this defense moving forward, but I do think when you look at this Dallas offense, to me, the bigger one too, the run game was a non-factor for this team the first 10, 11 weeks of the season. And it's still not an explosive rushing attack, but Rico Dowdle is running a little bit more confident. His efficiency has gone up. He's done a better job of just kind of keeping them, on schedule, right? So that now they're not facing as many 3rd and 8s and 3rd and 9s for Cooper Rush. It's more like the 3rd and 5 and 3rd and 6. So much like how in the Carolina game, Bryce Young, that was the formula for them, right? They didn't have as many. They were able to stay on schedule more often. And I think if you are this Eagles defense, you can't let the Rico Dowdle, because he's the back between the 20s. They'll give it to Zeke when they get into the low red zone. You can't let Dowdle go 4 yards in a cloud of dust the entire way up the field and let them just
he was 12 for 53 in the game when these two teams played before. I don't remember that, but I mean, they were also lost 34-6. I'm sure that there was some garbage time in there.
Yeah, I think so.
He had a 19-yard carry. So
right. That was the majority of it.
Yeah, but I mean, this Eagles team's not going to let Rico Dowdle beat him.
I don't think so. But look, I think when you look at Dowdle, well-rounded player, just not he's more smooth and shifty than he is explosive in a straight line. One thing they have done in recent weeks is they're starting to put Kevontae Turpin back there, and they'll do all the. It's not just reverses and jet sweeps with them. They'll put him in the backfield and run outside zone and sweep plays, and they've got some explosives that way with him.
I would say Rico Dowdle being the key to a Cowboys victory is something I doubt will happen.
Nice. It was one of your better ones. It was a good one.
All right, back with more on the other side. Well, let me tell you about what I'm going to tell you about as I figure out what it is that I'm going to tell you about. And that is, well, that's our friends at Miller Lite. Because a lot has changed over the years, and one thing that hasn't is the great taste of Miller Lite. Since 1975, people have been arguing. Great taste, less filling. Great taste, less filling. What makes Miller Lite the best beer that money can buy? Well, doesn't matter. It's both. You get both with Miller Lite. Miller Lite keeps it simple. Undebatable quality, great taste, and only 96 calories. It's the beer that strips away everything you don't need and holds on to what matters most. A light beer that tastes like beer. Less filling and only 96 calories. The original light beer since 1975. You don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/PHLY birds, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. I mean, who are we kidding? It's Miller Lite. It's ubiquitous. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
You know when Bo is getting ready to do an ad read that it's not going to be your typical ad read. There's always going to be a little bit of spice and flair. Some might say it's never ordinary. You know what else is not ordinary and never ordinary? That's our friends at Bet365, where whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. It has 90 million users worldwide. Bet365 live streams 780,000 events each year. They pioneered live in-game betting, and they've got those early payout offers across NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB games. Today, Bet365 offers the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 different sports. And look, you can see for yourself tonight with Thursday Night Football, Chargers, Patriots, huge game with spread your wins and fly implications.
Huge game.
We can get into it a little bit later if you want. Daniz has done an outstanding job of providing updates these last few weeks, but I'll be rooting hard for the Chargers here in this one. I feel pretty good about that. But you could place these qualifying parlay bets totaling up to $20 or more on tonight's game. Again, Chargers, Patriots. You can get bonus bets for every touchdown. Download the app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Bet365. And again, you can use code PHLY365 when you sign up to get $150 in bonus bets. And look, we only got a couple weeks left of the regular season in the NFL. Take advantage. When you bet $5, you get $150 in bonus bets. Whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. And we thank Bet365 for being a presenter of this podcast.
Biggest game of the weekend from a spread your wins and fly implications.
Yeah.
The Sunday nighter. Falcons at Commanders. So if you have checked out Dana's Twitter or Blue Sky, or you remember you've been keeping track yourself of Spread Your Wins and Fly, which is the game before the season in which Fran, Zach, and I drafted our over-unders for season-long win totals. Right now, I mean, it's basically a two-way race between the two of us, but you have Atlanta over 9.5.
Yes.
And I threw the challenge flag and went Atlanta under 9.5, and they're at 8 wins. So they've got at Washington on Sunday. If they lose that game, that's going to clinch that one for me. And I think that would probably be the difference. But if they win that game, they're probably going to win in week 18. And so you would get that one. Right now, I'm a half game up, but I'm probably not going to hit New England. I don't think New England's going to win both of those games.
Yeah.
And you need Indy to win both of their next games, but they could.
Yes, both games are very winnable.
And I've been needing one more Texans win for about a month.
Right. But I think for next week, it's...
I think it's Tennessee.
Yeah, it's Tennessee next week.
So I'm hoping I can get that one.
So that's why, I mean, this Atlanta game is...
Yeah,
this is
a huge
probably
one.
for all the marbles, yeah.
Okay. What else is going on?
I think we hit most of everything on the matchup.
I think so.
Yeah. Kickoff coverage got to be better. Kevontae Turpin, explosive kick returner.
Yeah.
So that, and he had a long return, right, in the last game. I feel like he had a long return in the last game. I might be confusing it with games last year. Turpin, I feel like he always has like a big play against the Eagles. So, but either way, regardless, in this one,
he had a 47-yard kick return.
There we go. All right. So, you want to make sure that you keep him locked down. And I mentioned they don't have a lot of juice offensively. So for the last couple of years, I've been saying like they kind of need to get this guy on the field more offensively, and they've been using him more as a receiver. I talked about what they're doing with him in the run game, so he'll be a factor in this game on Sunday.
One thing league-wide that is interesting, as Zach tweeted about, the Dolphins putting Shaq Barrett on waivers.
Yep.
Now, if he gets claimed, he can't play.
Yeah,
but if nobody claims him and then he signs somewhere, he can play. You think that would be a major upgrade over Chuck Harris, or a bigger upgrade than Bryce Huff?
I think he's definitely an upgrade over. I mean,
certainly an upgrade over Chuck Harris.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would say almost certainly.
He played 7 of the most silent snaps I've ever seen last week.
Almost definitely an upgrade over Chuck Harris. My antenna went up on Tuesday when Vic Fangio was asked about the blitz rate getting ticked up against Washington.
Yes,
And
I
he
thought
said
that was very interesting.
Yeah, we didn't get enough from our 4-man rush. We weren't getting enough pressure.
Yes.
So that paired with this news, I was like, okay, this is probably the move that they're going to try and make.
Yes, I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, those guys have played a lot of snaps.
Mm-hmm. You talked about last year.
I think it's reasonable to expect that there would be something of an efficiency drop off. I think it would be great if they could get Bryce Huff back and he could play 15 snaps.
If you're getting what you would hope to get from Bryce Huff in those 15, yeah.
Even if you're getting 70% of what you were hoping to get.
Yeah, but the thing is I feel like that's been like I would say what you got from Bryce Huff before his injury was 40% of what you were hoping to get. Right.
Yeah.
so that's what, because he had that one game where it was like, all right, if he can be this, but then he went right back where it went to exactly what it was before that. So he had that one bright moment that I'm forgetting which game that was at this point, but
I don't think he needs to see the field on first or second down ever
at all.
I think he can just be out there on third down.
Yeah, and hopefully, maybe this time away has kind of helped him kind of clear his head from a rush standpoint, and but it was bad before the injury.
Yeah, fair enough. Do we have Mr. Berm yet, or we're still waiting on him? He's all right. He's grinding the tape.
He's got some news from the field.
News. He did tweet that all 3 quarterbacks were at practice, but Jalen Hurts was not one of them.
Jalen Hurts not one of them, and it was Pickett at the front of the line.
Pickett and McKee were throwing to each other.
Mm.
But if you were trying to be have some subterfuge. I mean, of course, you're going to pretend like Kenny Pickett's going to play. I don't like
the Kelly green helmets with the red practice jerseys.
I agree with that. They look like the Jets.
It's very strange. Yeah,
from here.
I don't like that.
Yeah, we haven't talked about a Kelly Green game.
Yeah, they're undefeated in the Kelly Greens.
Maybe the least juice for a Kelly Green game they've had yet.
I mean, especially the fact that it's Eagles Dallas. Like you would think that there'd be a little bit more juice for
move
it. But
to 1 o'clock.
Move to 1. Well, I think it made sense for Washington, Atlanta to get flexed. Just to get that rookie.
For spread your wins and fly, yeah.
Well, certainly for that. I think that's exactly what
Goodell has his eyes on that. Speaking of commissioners.
Oh, no.
I don't know. You saw Ricky Henderson died?
I did, yeah. I saw your post on Blue Sky that you were workshopping a Ricky Henderson joke, so I'm terrified about what's going to come right now.
No, I just this doesn't feel on the up and up to me. I feel like there's something going on here.
Why?
Manfred.
Okay.
He wants all those bases back.
I don't want to. The guy died.
I think Ricky Henderson would appreciate that.
Yeah, you're probably right.
He stole like over 1,000 bases. Manfred wants those back.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, guy's a ghoul.
Yeah. Zach would not want me to ask this question. More or less of a ghoul than your buddy from the Hall of Fame?
Oh, the NFL? More of a ghoul.
More of a ghoul, yeah.
Yeah.
Less scary.
Less
physically imposing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't think of anybody who's more physically imposing. More of a ghoul, less of an ogre.
Okay. Fair enough. Zach's like going to be in the waiting room. He's going to be like, what is going on in this show right now?
Knock, knock, knock.
Congratulations. You're going to the hall and I'm going to eat your face. Nobody look into the tax evasion I did as a candidate 20 years ago.
Zach says he'll be here in 3 to 5 minutes. So looking forward to that.
What was the way that you wanted to take the conversation about the Christmas dinner?
You know what? We are all here members of the Dead Parents Club.
Yeah, it's true.
And I was going to ask you about, if I feel like baking and cooking and following family recipes is always a nice way to feel that connection.
1,000%. I remember obviously eating that meal. My dad would make it oftentimes for Christmas, but also remember as I got older, preparing the chicken with him. So it was very cool. Yeah, it was. And a couple of people asked, as after dinner, during dinner, oh, like Fran, like what's with the chicken? And I said, when I explained it, where the recipe was from, everyone was happy.
Do you have is it like a handwritten specific recipe, or it's just it by heart?
This one I went right off the dome. Yeah, right off the. Okay. I know this one from heart. My mom does have everything written down for recipes. She's got like this big book, and it's like all the recipe cards and stuff. But during the pandemic, when we were home and quarantined, right? So I'm all right. I'm going to dabble with cooking. It was fun. Francis was like 9 to 10 months old, so I could put him somewhere. And all right, like now I can put all my attention into this. Not all my attention, but I can focus in on this meal. And I remember she gave me her recipe for like homemade like meatballs and gravy. So I'm doing the gravy, I'm doing the sauce, and she would her recipe cards would just say like sugar, this, and I'm like, all right, all right. So mom, like how much sugar would go into the pot? And she would
sprinkle a little sugar on the egg.
Right. And she would say, "Oh, I just make the sign of the cross with the sugar." And I'm like, "Wow, like that's the most Italian mom thing you've ever said to me in your entire life." So I knew not to ask her for the recipe card.
Okay.
It was more just like the only thing I confirmed with her was like, "All right, after I take it out of the oil, how long do you put the chicken into the oven to finish off?
What temperature? Or?
Yeah, I know. All right, I got to get it to 165. But just in terms of temperature wise for the oven. Yeah, exactly. Just like, all right, what do you typically do? She was making this. She actually was making the same meal yesterday as well.
Oh, that's fun.
So she made it for the rest of my family. Went to her house. We had Meg's family at our house yesterday.
My mom would always make a bunch of these holiday cookies, and so I made 3 of the kinds on Tuesday.
Okay,
with a little bit of help from Jane.
Sure,
but they're like they're not like just like sugar cookies, right? They're like they're supposed to be walnut, but Rachel's allergic to walnut, so I substitute. And I've tried different substitutes over the years. I find sunflowers work best, but I went almond this year.
Oh,
anyway, they're not like typical the kind of cookies that kids would necessarily love. So they were happy. Right. The kids were happy to try them, but they like no interest in my cookies.
Yeah, right. What were the other 2?
So one is a chocolate like cocoa, and then confectionery sugar on the outside. That's when we got to let the dough sit for like 4 hours and then rise. I thought though that would be the ones that they would like because they're the sweetest. They like them the most. And then the other ones are like it's like a oatmeal base and then a chocolate thing on top with sprinkled nuts on top.
Nice.
Those ones are probably
that sounds good.
I like the snowballs a lot too.
Okay.
But anyway, so a lot of cookies for me to eat.
You prefer baking over cooking, or
I prefer cooking.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I prefer cooking. Yeah. I'm not a huge baker, but I like getting into the. And then my sister, for one of her like college electives at one point, made a big recipe book, like typed up all the recipes into an actual book. So that book is falling apart, but it gets a lot of use holiday time.
I've been meaning for like years to make this do like a gift for my mom where we basically she's not going to be watching where I take all of her recipes and make it into like a Nona's cookbook thing and take like recipes from like everybody in the family. At some point, I will get around to doing that.
One day.
Yeah, her birthday's in October, and then Mother's Day, and then there's Christmas. So I have like all these tent poles like living throughout the year where I could do it. I just gotta do it.
I think post draft.
Yeah,
summer for the October birthday.
Yeah. I think that's probably my window.
Interesting super chat from Mike, which we haven't talked about, which is what did you make of Jeff McClain's report about Nick Sirianni and Zach Ertz needing to be separated by Big Dom after the game because of a comment that Sirianni made?
I mean, like, he's got to help himself better than that. I'm talking about.
And then, of course, there's subsequently, like, they get on a Zoom and Nick apologizes to him. Like,
yeah, I mean, you can't have that. Like,
I mean, that is deeply embarrassing.
Yeah.
And it
even if it wasn't a franchise icon, like the fact that it's Zach Ertz is a separate deal. Like, makes it worse.
The description is without specifics that like Ertz was coming over to they were gonna whatever handshake and Ertz sees that Nick is pissed and so he goes for a high five or whatever and Nick takes umbrage at how hard like the high five is and makes a comment that Ertz like didn't have a lot to do with the victory. That is like deeply pathetic.
Yeah. I mean,
that's accurate.
Yeah, I read it earlier today and was like speechless reading it. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
And it's I don't want to turn it into
this. We don't need to. Yeah, exactly.
But truly, if this season does not end up a good way, that is the kind of thing that will weigh on Jeffrey Lurie's mind.
Right.
Like that, I guarantee you that infuriates Jeffrey Lurie.
That's insane, like uncalled for. And again, if there were Ben Sinnett, right? And he got into it with Ben Sinnett after
that would be embarrassing, but
that would be embarrassing, but at different this is like, and it would be one thing too. He played for him. Yeah. Like it would be one thing, like if Ertz left the year before and it was just like, you don't do that to an icon. Played for him. It's very, very strange.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely wild. It's not even like it was on the sideline in the middle of the game. The game's over.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's bad.
It's really bad.
Yeah, just bad luck.
All right. We're going to take a quick break and then get to Zach Berman in just a minute. Not a synod, a minute. Empire Today, not tomorrow, not yesterday, today. With Empire Today, you get shop-at-home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a price match guarantee. Empire Today is the best place to get new flooring, so of course they have copycats, but those copycats can't beat Empire Today when it comes to quality, service, and speed, so they advertise low-quality products that the good folks at Empire Today simply would not carry. Empire Today won't promise the lowest prices because anyone who does that is putting flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in theirs. At Empire Today, they pride themselves on convenient shop-at-home service. They help customers shop for floors where they use their floors so they can see exactly what their new floors will look like in the home's lighting and decor so they can make informed decisions. And Empire Today is not going to overwhelm you with 1,000 options. They are the experts. They're going to curate the best selection for you and let you go from there. They also service their own warranties, and if an issue does arise, just call Empire. They service all warranties themselves. You won't have to track down a manufacturer's phone number. Schedule a free in-home estimate today with Empire Today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code PHLY. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/PHLY for details.
I'm going to be a little biased with this ad read because I'm a Rite Aid man myself. We go there for all of our pharmacy needs. And with a My Pharmacy... Don't derail this one. With the My Pharmacy account at Rite Aid, you can refill your prescriptions, you can schedule a vaccine, you can get personalized care recommendations, and sign up for prescription notifications. And all you need to get started is a prescription at Rite Aid. And you get started at riteaid.com/mypharmacy. Stop stressing about all those prescriptions. Some people need 4 or 5 pickups every time you go to the pharmacy. I have to go once a month or so for something for myself. Let Rite Aid refill all of those automatically. You don't have to call anything in. You don't have to get a note. You don't have to talk to the doctor. You can enroll in automated courtesy refills. It's free, it's easy, and most prescriptions qualify for this service. You can talk with your Rite Aid pharmacist or sign up through your My Pharmacy account at riteaid.com. Restrictions may apply to that, of course. And also, you can manage all of your prescriptions with that Rite Aid mobile app. You can transfer or refill your prescriptions through there. You can set up medication reminders, medication reminders. You can enroll in prescription notifications and download from the Apple App Store or Google Play. Again, transfer all of your prescriptions to Rite Aid today. Just go to riteaid.com/transfer. Rite Aid caring pharmacists ready to answer your questions and help you stay healthy. Get your prescriptions along with anything at Rite Aid you may need, including over-the-counter medications, household products, cosmetics, and more. Just ask your pharmacy team for details. Restrictions apply.
All right. It's the best time of the day. The time that we get to hear from our man, Zach Berman, on the scene. A big day at practice for the Eagles. Zach, you look great. Give us the scoop. Who's going to play quarterback on Sunday?
Well, the players playing quarterback at practice today, Thursday, did not include Jalen Hurts. It was Kenny Pickett first, Tanner McKee second, Ian Book third. As you established at the top of the show, the Eagles added Ian Book to the practice squad. But what stands out, I saw that. It might be I was going to make a self-deprecating joke about the book, but I actually am proud of that book. Excuse me. No, I think what's noteworthy is Pickett practicing and being first up here. I think that's a sign that he's trending toward playing. We'll see what happens with Jalen Hurts if he's cleared in the next 48 hours, if the Eagles are able to even make a decision there. The concussion protocol is out of the Eagles' hands, as we well know. I think Nick Sirianni, him playing coy about Kenny Pickett, I didn't really understand why he had to do that. But I just saw it with my own eyes, the other reporters here too. Kenny Pickett is practicing. He would have been limited at practice yesterday had the Eagles practiced. I don't know if he'll be full. We don't get to watch the team drills, but the fact that he was first up, the fact that he was out there now with padding around his ribs would lend me to believe that there's a good chance Pickett plays.
There was no padding on the ribs, you could tell?
No. There was padding around the ribs. There was, yeah. So whether it's a flak jacket or something of that nature. There was definitely padding around Kenny Pickett's ribs.
Well, let's just underscore this for people who don't know. You get to see the first 15 minutes of practice, right? You don't get to see team drills. So we don't know, and we will find out what the injury report is if Kenny Pickett is a full participant. I'm just saying, if Kenny Pickett were injured and they were going to play Tanner McKee, they would still go through these motions. Like Nick Sirianni, who loves the subterfuge, would still go through this in order to make sure that the Cowboys are preparing for Kenny Pickett instead of Tanner McKee. I don't think that that's what's happening. But if that were what was happening, this is what it would look like still.
Sure, I'm just telling you what was happening.
It's not done and dusted. I think.
A question that I asked Nick Sirianni today, because if you're not like Professor Selman and you don't watch the press conferences, I'm not talking to the two of you. I'm talking to the audience here. There was this whole song and dance. Nick Sirianni was, we'll see. I don't want to get into that. Wasn't going anywhere near any quarterback questions. And so I asked, is this a situation where you have a sense of what you're going to do and you're keeping quiet for competitive reasons, or you genuinely don't know what's going to happen here? And he said a little bit of both. And he goes on to tell me about the concussion protocol. And I interjected. I typically don't interject, but I interjected here because I said, well, Kenny's not in the concussion protocol. And he said, yeah, you'll see in a few hours, meaning we'll see at practice, right? So look, that very well could be the case. I would agree with your premise or your theory or your opinion in Monday's show that if Pickett is less than his normal self by a notable degree, then I would go with Tanner McKee. That said, I don't believe that's what the Eagles are doing here. Mm-hmm. I think the Eagles are preparing for Kenny Pickett to be their starting quarterback this weekend.
Zach,
I should also say we're going to be in the locker room at the end of practice, which is about 4:15, and I will hopefully speak to Kenny Pickett then. My hope is that there's some, like, I don't want to say the adults in the room here, but like Kenny Pickett said, yeah, I'm healthy enough to play, right? That's what I'm hoping to hear from Kenny Pickett rather than this whole song and dance. We'll see.
Yeah.
Zach, can you remind us just the mechanics of the concussion protocol? What hurdles Jalen Hurts needs to clear in order to play on Sunday? Because we had like the late announcement with Lane Johnson earlier this year about it. He didn't have enough action late in the week. Can you just take us through that?
Yeah, good question there. So it's a 5-step protocol. So even if you're if Jalen Hurts is at practice tomorrow, it doesn't mean that he's cleared the protocol. That's the first thing to say. So you need to go through a practice, recover from the practice, and then have another practice there. So some of the in the Lane Johnson situation, he went through a Friday walkthrough and then participated in Saturday's walkthrough. But I guess it was deemed that he did not do enough on Friday to have that recovery on Saturday. Like if there was a little more contact on Friday. Now, so a few things here. My understanding is the Lane Johnson thing was kind of specific to him and not necessarily a uniform across the protocol. The other thing is quarterbacks don't typically get contacted in practice, right? But there is a stage in terms of the concussion protocol where there's light aerobic workout. There's being able to be outside with your team. It's notable today, Jalen Hurts was not on the field during the portion of practice we were able to see. Now, perhaps that's because it was 20 degrees and they thought there was a better use of his time than being out there. Perhaps he came out for team drills after the reporters came in. So perhaps it's carrying a lot of weight in this sentence. But typically, players who are farther along in the protocol are at least on the sideline during practice observing. If we all recall, Reed Blankenship was on the sideline at a Wednesday practice earlier this year when he was in the concussion protocol. Now, he did not play in that Sunday's game, right? But he was Sidney Brown was on the sideline last week. during practice. Now, he did get cleared and played Sunday's game. But to answer your question succinctly, Fran, he would need to go through a workout and then something else and then get cleared. Trevor Lawrence earlier this year got cleared on a Saturday morning. It is not out of the realm of possibility that you get cleared on a Saturday morning.
Got it.
That said, by Saturday, and you know this better than all of us, Fran, they've already gone through all their practices for the week. Now, I asked Nick Sirianni this question on Monday. I said, does Jalen need to practice in order to play? Because you don't get cleared until later in the week if you do, in fact, get cleared. And he said that they're confident in Jalen's preparation, that Jalen knows how to prepare. So the possibility does exist that Jalen gets cleared Saturday and is in the lineup Sunday. But for all intents and purposes, the Eagles need to prepare for that not occurring because Nick is accurate that the protocol is out of their hands. And so my guess, if you had to say to me right now, who do you think is starting at quarterback on Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys? I would say Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, I think it's leaning that way, right? Are there any restrictions on game plan stuff that can be given to a player going through the concussion protocol? What?
In the early stages of the protocol, there's restrictions about attending meetings. There's restrictions regarding light sensitivity. Now, the Eagles aren't typically forthcoming about the stages of the protocol that a player's in. But it would, I guess, surprise me if Jalen's not at that stage. My understanding is Jalen's in the building, right? He's not at home. So he's in the building. So, but I can't tell you with any degree of certainty what stage of the protocol he's in.
And from the mechanics that you're talking about, if for instance, during tomorrow's show, Jalen Hurts is not practicing, we will know that he can't play on Sunday, right? Because he hasn't had a chance to recover from a practice?
Yes, based on my understanding of the protocol, is that if he is not even out there on a limited basis tomorrow, then he would not be able to have that recovery period in time for Sunday. Now, I imagine there's different things you could do with individual, teams have different ways of doing it. If you bring a guy to the field in a filmed session, there's documented evidence for the league, but this is all kind of getting into the weeds. I think you are accurate. If he's not out on the field tomorrow when they practice, which is before our show, so we'll know before the show whether he practices or not, then we can prepare to see Kenny Pickett or Tanner McKee, to use the example you framed earlier.
Or Ian Book.
I don't believe we'll see Ian Book. But and I'm sorry, I watched the top of the show, but then I had to go to practice, so I don't know if you covered this. The one thing with Ian Book, and Professor Selman outlined this, is that Ian Book will need to be active in order to be the emergency quarterback because he's on practice squad. It can be a standard elevation, but he wouldn't be inactive and then dressed as the third quarterback like Tanner McKee typically is. He would need to be active. So that's not hard to do. They have guys who are active who don't play. There's 48 spots. But that is
also thinking about you could still make McKee the emergency quarterback and activate Ian Book, but obviously you wouldn't actually want to go to Ian Book. And so in that case, if you're activating McKee, then Book can't go back into the game. So you're not really saving anything.
Exactly. And I don't think you can even go to McKee in that case unless Book is injured.
Well, you just pretend that he's injured.
Yeah.
But again, that's not saving anything.
Coming from someone who rules are pretty loose with in some of these organized games.
What did you make, Zach, of the Jeff McClain report about the Nick Sirianni Zach Ertz altercation?
Yeah, first off, credit to Jeff. And I mean, unlike Nick, I will share private conversations sometimes. I texted Jeff yesterday. I listened to the podcast right away and said, good work there, because you didn't find that anywhere else. Good job by Jeff. What do I make of it? I make of it that if it's as Jeff described, and I have no reason to think that Jeff embellished it, then that's a bad look by Nick Sirianni. It's unsportsmanlike, to use a theme from what happened in the game,
or whatever.
Unnecessary, considering just considering the context, and especially I heard before I came on, it would be unseemly to do that to Ben Sinnott. It would be like it's to do that to Zach Ertz, who, by the way, some of the listeners might not remember this. Zach Ertz absolutely had Nick Sirianni's back at this, back in 2022. Like,
good point.
Zach Ertz went out of his way
more vocally than almost anybody at the time.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it was an awkward summer for Zach. He thought he was going to get traded. He was hanging around, and he went out of his way to say how Nick Sirianni brought fun back to him, and he went out of his way to bring up different examples of what he liked about Sirianni's coaching. And he was a valuable veteran voice in the room. To say that was just strikes. Look, I understand it's an emotional loss. I don't know the context of the handshake, but to me, that people who know the show know I've defended Nick quite a bit. I would not defend him on that. I think that would be just unsportsmanlike, uncalled for, and unbecoming of the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles.
It's really crazy. The unsportsmanlike
now I would also say too is that so this came up after the game. Mike Sealski from the Inquirer asked Nick about it, and I didn't see what happened during the game, right? Like as they were coming off. So I was curious, and I tried to find clips of what occurred, and I couldn't find any video clips. Like, no fans had homemade clips. I was Twitter searching Ertz and Sirianni. I saw Ertz's comments where he said you would have to ask Nick what happened. We exchanged holiday wishes, which is with like what NBA coaches say whenever they're ejected from a game, right?
Yeah.
I think that if it's as it was explained, that's a bad look for Nick Sirianni.
I was laughing to myself the other day, thinking of because you brought up the unsportsmanlike with CJ Gardner-Johnson, the pool report, where like it would have been funny if the ref was like actually just saying exactly what he said, matter of factly, like, oh, well, he said, I'm going to slit your throat, slant boy, and I'm going to have sex with the hole and make your family watch, and like just whatever vile thing that he said, like he just put that on the record with the league.
Like head in her hands, like just like.
I just want to tell the audience we don't know that what CJ Gardner-Johnson said. So.
Yeah, I mean,
I just want before we say farewell to the TV audience or to the Fast Channel audience, I just want to give one quick other update from practice. And that's Nakobe Dean was practicing. Now, Nakobe Dean would have been a DNP yesterday, so that's a good sign. Will Shipley remains in the concussion protocol. He was not out there. That's relevant, of course, because they signed Lou Nichols, right? So. I mean, we'll see.
So many people remember as the runner-up for the Bo Wulf Camp Crush this year.
Now they have Davis Price. I would imagine they would go to Davis Price before they would go to Lou Nichols.
Well,
but
that's the succession. You bring in Lou Nichols because Davis Price might get elevated.
Yes. Yeah. And then it didn't seem. I did leave practice early to come to the show. The reporters were still there when I left. But those were the big injury notes I was looking out for, Dean and Shipley.
Is there anything else just like going on in Eagles land news wise that you would like to touch on? I know you are keen on the Shaq Barrett situation.
I would pay attention to that. So Shaq Barrett, who when he wanted to come back, the Dolphins weren't letting him free. They are going to waive him now, according to Adam Schefter. He needs to clear waivers. If a team claims him, he's not eligible for the postseason. If he clears waivers, he can sign somewhere else. It would, I would imagine the reason why he wants to play right now in week 18, or I'm sorry, week 17, is to join a team that's going to be a contender. If you put 1 and 2 together, I would pay attention to the Philadelphia Eagles as a team that would be interested in it.
Okay. Makes sense. Fran has found video.
So there's video of the Ertz Sirianni thing.
Oh, okay.
So basically, it's right after the game. Like, everybody's leaving the sidelines. Sirianni's on his way to go talk to Dan Quinn, and Ertz comes up to him. You can see he gives the high five as they walk past each other. They didn't stop. Ertz gives the high five. Sirianni turns and says something to Ertz as he's walking away. And then he talks to Dan Quinn, says, and Ertz comes back to talk to Sirianni, I guess, based off what Sirianni said.
Yeah,
it's exactly as described.
Yeah, and then then that goes to separate. Yep. So there you go. Thanks
Yeah,
for the chat.
look,
The chat saying that there is video. I think to your point, Zach, the video just came out. It's like not it's not
okay.
Yeah, it's not like it was out
I got to say, I was searching yesterday when Jeff's podcast came out, and I listened to that. And so, it's a bad look for Nick Sirianni. There's no rationalization.
But a good look would be if you're watching this on Fast and you want to catch the rest of the episode, head to allphly.com and make it happen, because we are about to get into a big edition of Swooper Soarcasting. How you feeling, Zach?
Real quick, I just want to say Nick Sirianni was asked about this today, because also in the Jeff McClain report was that there was a Zoom call set up where Nick apologized.
It's so funny. Why not just set up a Zoom? He can't just get on the horn?
Maybe he wanted to do it face to face, right?
I guess.
And so Nick said. Nick said when he was asked why he felt the need to apologize, that he'll keep all conversations private, but that he has a lot of respect for Zach Ertz.
Got it. Okay.
He said, "How am I feeling? My voice is a little hoarse today.
I'm sorry.
Not my. Yeah, I was worried before coming on about how I would sound, so I'm hoping I sound okay.
Well, you look great.
You look great. I mean, the sharpness of that camera, fantastic.
I appreciate it. It's the lighting here from who knew all this time there was this window, right?
That's right. All right, we get into Swooper Soarcasting. Week 17. We start with last week's results. Fran, you had more than one of the underdogs in the college football playoff wins outright.
Yeah.
Did not happen.
Nope.
You had Olamide Zaccheaus has more catches than Jahan Dotson has targets. Nailed that one in a big way. And then you had the Eagles and Penn State both win. Obviously, the Eagles did not win, so that did not happen. Zach, you had Saquon Barkley has more rushing yards than any Penn State running back. Bingo, bango, bongo. The Eagles score a touchdown on their first offensive drive. It happened for the first time. Now, this one, very shady, because obviously we don't know who really got that bid in, and then you took the onus upon yourself to go to 5. But however shadily you acquired the item, it did come through. You had Grant Calcaterra has more receiving yards than any SMU tight end. Did not happen. And Saquon Barkley has at least 140 rushing yards. You got it. You hit 3 out of 4. A big week for Zach. I had exactly one of these things happens. Jalen Hurts does not rush for a touchdown. Did happen. Jahan Dotson catches a pass within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage. Did not happen. A kick hits the upright or crossbar. Almost happened, but did not happen. A goal-to-go play from outside the 10-yard line. Did not happen. Something in FedEx Field breaks. Did not happen. And an Eagle scores a touchdown from as many yards out as his jersey number. Did not happen. So I hit that item.
Do we know if Kenny Pickett's rib is broken?
That's a good question. But it's also not FedEx Field. So
Yeah, that's right.
nothing broke at FedEx Field. I had Zach Bond or Nakobe Dean gets a sack, interception, forced fumble, or recovery. Zach Bond had a forced fumble, so that was 2. Jalen Carter has at least 5 points. Now, this is a failure of myself because obviously a forced fumble should be worth 5 points, but it was not outlined in the item, and so he only ended up with 1 quarterback hit, so for 1 point. The Eagles win and at least one of the Lions and Vikings lose. Obviously, that did not happen. And now we get to the interesting one. The game is never tied after 0-0. Now, we were doing this on the watch-along as the Commanders scored a touchdown to briefly have the score even, pending the extra point, after which it then became 28-27. And on the watch-along, Fran, you said that doesn't count as a tie.
Correct.
That we should go by the game log. And if you look at the scoring summary on the game log, the game is never tied.
Right.
Now, Deniz has ruled that he thinks that this game was tied. Zach, I'm curious how you feel. Was the game ever tied on Sunday?
So I actually think that I'm pausing here because the game was tied at that particular moment. But for the spirit of the question, the game was not tied for a period for which I think was the spirit of it. It was not. I think had they missed the extra point, the game would have been tied. But I think for the way this is typically adjudicated, I think that it was not tied.
Interesting. So you are willing to fall
by definition, it was tied
and lose a half a point.
We know that Zach is a man of integrity.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like I think that it was so technically the score was tied, right? And
Yes.
had there been a missed extra point, then it would count as a certain tie.
Yes.
But I tend to think of the touchdown as the package deal. Me personally, that's kind of how I think about it. But I will defer to Professor Selman for all these.
I appreciate your character. Character counts, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, when it comes to Swooper Soarcasting, my integrity is unimpeachable.
Very debatable.
I care about the game. I care about the rules. And I do not believe in the spirit of the original suggestion that this would have counted. The idea was the scoring summary, the game was never tied. However, as I wrote it, as I proposed it, the game is never tied. I did not clarify that. And the game was briefly tied. And so I am going to say that I do not get this point.
Wow.
You get the full win, Zach. I will fall in the sword.
Don't fall for this, Zach. He's got something else planned. He's doing something else.
I care about Swooper.
No, he's doing
this is
something.
The right
There's
context.
something else coming
Everything else that came before, I was right about.
This is the shot.
This is
the
how I
chaser's
feel.
coming in like 10 minutes. He's going to do something.
There's nothing else coming. The rules are the rules. This is not what I had in mind when I offered the proposal. But the game is never tied. The game was briefly tied. That's my own fault. And so that means that Fran remains in the lead at 5 1/3. I am a half point behind him at 4 5/6. And Zach, you are on a roll. You are back in the game. You are 1 full point behind me, 1.5 points behind Fran at 3 5/6.
I'm proud of you, Bo.
There's nothing to be proud of. This is who I am. This is who I have always been.
The chat is shocked at how this is how this is gone.
The chat needs to rewatch every other Swooper debate. I have been on the side of correct.
No,
every single time.
False. And honestly, I would say that you're incorrect. I think you should have gotten the point there. But
that was my mistake. All right. The order this week is me, then Fran, then Zach. I have 37 turkeys, so I had 13 to carry over. Fran had 4 to carry over, so he's got 28. Zach, you have 3 to carry over, so you will begin with 27.
37, 28, 27.
Yeah.
Correct.
Got
it. I will go first. My first nomination, Tanner McKee plays an offensive snap in the game, and I will start the bidding at 2. Two going once. 2 going twice.
3.
Oh,
Good job,
you know
Zach.
what? I was gonna
Good
speed
job,
count
Zach.
that. I gave you an opening.
He's remote.
Yeah.
3 to Zach. 3 to Zach going once. 3 to Zach going
No, I'll
twice.
say 4.
Whoa.
Ooh, 4 to Bo.
Okay. I'm not going. It's yours. For 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Sold it.
So good.
Outstanding.
All right, Fran, over to you.
All right, so I went thematic here for this one.
I love thematic.
It's almost like a Jeopardy column, like seeing double. It's the name of all of these entries here. First one, seeing double.
And twins.
Either team completes a pass of over 10 air yards off of a double move. Now, Daniz can be the final judge on if the route was a double move or not, but we all can sit here and say, "Oh, this was a double move." I think that both teams, could attack each other's secondaries with a double move here. Dallas has been doing it a lot offensively, and I think their secondary is prone to biting on double moves. I will start the bidding at 3.
What's your definition of a double move?
The receiver, the intended target. I won't say wide receiver. The intended target sells one move and then runs another. So we're going to go like sluggo, stutter go, stop.
Out and up. Yeah.
Out and up. Good one. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
What did you start the bidding at?
3.
6.
Ooh, 6 to Bo.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I was here to win.
You should have bid.
Yeah.
6 to Bo going once. 6 to Bo going twice.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll take it for 6. Go for it.
So after the Devontae Smith experience from a few weeks ago, I've learned I'm not submitting quarterback bids this week. I'm staying away from quarterback specific bids. But
What was the Devontae Smith?
I did some research. No. So here's one. This involves a quarterback, but this is an interesting one.
Wait, what was
As
the
I was looking
Devontae
up
Smith
some
experience?
numbers.
About all of us.
All
So
of-
they're being like
All
I should say
my
of us.
bids
Two
were
of
about
the 3
Devontae
of
Smith.
us being involved in Devontae
Oh.
Smith bids. Yeah.
I see.
That
Yes.
one person
And he didn't
happened
play.
to submit.
Yeah. So I didn't want to do like Kenny Pickett throws for 300 yards and Pickett doesn't play. I didn't want something like that, right? So AJ Brown finishes this. So so this says the season. I'm sorry, this should be the game.
Oh.
Finishes the game with a catch percentage on the season greater or equal to. I'm sorry, I typed this on my phone. I did not do this well. Greater or equal to 70%. Okay, so I screwed that up. I apologize, Julia.
That's okay.
So AJ Brown finishes the game with a catch percentage on the season greater or equal to 70%.
So basically
And now
70%
he's
catch
at
rate in the game.
So this is not the game. This is the season. So he's at 69.6% now with 64 catches on 92 targets. So you can do your math there based on. So it's if he makes enough catches on enough targets to raise that percentage on the season up, 0.4%.
Okay,
And
so there's no rounding here. It has to be exactly 70 or greater.
Exactly. So if it's 0.699999, that doesn't count. It has to be 0.7, 0.7 something when you put the numbers in at the end of the game. And I will start the bidding.
Wait, catch? Where are you getting catch percentage?
Good question. What's your source?
Pro Football Focus.
BFFs. Okay.
Pro Football Focus.
What?
No, I'm sorry, not Pro Football Focus. Pro Football
Football
Reference.
Reference.
Thank you.
Reference. I apologize. Yes, I apologize. Pro Football Reference was the source here. And I will start the bidding at 2.
2 to Zach.
3.
Yeah.
Oh,
4.
4 to Fran.
5.
5 to Zach.
6.
6 to Fran.
7.
7 to Zach.
Let's call it 8.
8 to Fran.
There we go. That's what everybody tunes in for. Look
Uh,
at exasperation.
The
8 to Fran
furrowing of the
going
brow.
once.
9.
Oh, 9 to Zach.
10.
10 to Fran.
It's yours for 10.
Wow.
That's a good
Going
one,
once.
Fran. I should have kept.
Going twice.
So,
Sold.
nicely timed.
That's good.
That's interesting. I'm surprised you guys went so high on that. My intuition would be in a game in which they're going to need to throw the ball to AJ Brown a lot. maybe they're going to funnel targets his way. It would be harder for him to, I don't know.
Or maybe they won't throw much at all.
Maybe they won't throw much at all, and they'll just hit him on 5 quick throws. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I will say,
I think there are going to be more high percentage throws this week.
Yeah.
With Pickett. I think the short intermediate game will be the way they go in the passing game.
The one stat that I pulled about Dallas' secondary was notable to this. All right, so the back seven for Dallas has been really strong on tight window throws. Just 16 catches on 63 tight window targets, 25% completion rate. That's the third lowest in the NFL. That's from Next Gen Stats. And we know from all of our discussions in this season, A.J. Brown and the Eagles offense thrive on those tight window throws. So something to keep in mind.
Okay. All right, we have our first Deniz submission.
Okay, this one is it says first complete sentence and then normal auction. So the Eagles defense forces at least X 3 and outs and turnovers combined. Whoever won item 3
must complete the sentence by choosing any number for X and then start bidding for a normal auction. Okay, so you won the last auction. So you're going to pick the number here. And it's the Eagles defense forces at least however many 3 and outs and turnovers combined. And then we will begin the bidding from there.
Yep.
And Deniz gives us the color that in week 10 at Dallas, the Eagles forced 5 3 and outs and 5 turnovers. So that would have been 10 combined.
Yep.
So it's up to you to figure out, are we going low or are we shooting high?
Yep. As we talked about, this offense is doing a better job, Dallas, of not turning the football over. The Eagles forced 5 turnovers in that game. As Daniz mentioned, they had 5 last week. That said, X will equal 7. Okay, so 7 3 and out and turnover drives.
Okay.
We're going to start the bid at 5.
5 to Fran.
Question for clarification from the chat. Matt wants to know, does a 4th down stop count as a turnover? In the game book, it does not.
Yeah, right.
So turnover on downs.
I think Daniz would probably look at this as like a serious conversion rate thing, but I don't want to speak for
if you
Daniz.
stop on 4th down on the first possession, on the 3 and out, and it's a 4 and out, then obviously that counts.
Right.
But 4th down does not equal a turnover.
Right. But would it equal would he count that as a 3? I don't know if that counts as a 3 and out in the 3 and out drive chart.
No.
It does not. A 4 and out?
4 and out? I think a 4 and out does count as a 3 and out. Yeah.
So then it would count for the 3 and out.
But only if it's the first series. If they get a 1st down and then get stopped on 4th down, that doesn't count.
Yeah. Sure. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. We're good.
Okay. So in and of itself, a 4th down stop does not count as a turnover.
Right. Yep. Okay.
All right. We're
bidding's
at 5 right now.
Yep. Bidding's at 5.
5 going once.
Going
5
twice.
going twice. Sold to the man in the hoodie.
It's not working. Here.
I'll take it.
All right. Fran is down to 13. Zach, you and I are both at 27 turkeys here.
The math checks out.
Okay.
All right. Over to me
more aggressive
for the next submission. A non-offensive touchdown is scored in the game by either team, defense or special teams. Now, let me also say a fumble recovery by the offensive team does not count.
Got it.
It's got to be scored by the defense or special teams.
Yep.
And I will start the bidding at 3.
Do it.
3 to Bo. Three to Bo going
Nothing for me.
once.
I'm not doing this one either.
Going
There you go.
twice. Okay. Sold to Bo.
All right. Seeing Double Part 2.
Seeing double part 2.
Saquon Barkley accounts for more all-purpose yardage than both CeeDee Lamb and Cavante Turpin combined. Now, the last 4 games for Saquon Barkley.
Why is this seeing double? Because it's 1 versus 2?
Yeah, 1 versus 2.
Okay.
Stay in your lane over there. All right, last 4 games for Saquon, 150, and he had 74, 124, 117. The last 4 games for Lamb and Turpin, 123, 143, 125, and 94.
So all-purpose for Turpin includes returns.
No, we're not including. So no, it would be combined running and
scrimmage
receiving.
yards.
Scrimmage
okay.
yards. Thank you.
Scrimmage yards. Okay.
Poor job on my part. Scrimmage yards for those guys. So, yeah, we will start the bidding at 3.
All right. 3 to Fran.
4.
4 to Zach. 4 to Zach going once.
5.
Oh, 5 to Bo.
6.
Oh, 6 to Fran.
7.
7 to Zach.
I think if you were to do the Swooper tape, I think it would tell you that it's hard to get Zach to not bid on a Saquon Barkley item.
He's only threatening the all-time leading rushing.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad. I just
Yeah.
What are we at right now?
8.
Oh, 8 to Fran.
8.
Oh, Fran. Yeah.
8 to Fran going once.
9.
Like, oh, 9 to Zach.
Now,
10 to Zach going once.
10.
10 to Bo.
Zach.
10 to Bo going once. 10 to Bo going twice. And sold.
I'm down to 14.
Yep. I've got 13. Zach's got 27.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Zach,
Okay.
over to you.
So this is a Saquon Barkley item as well. Okay. Saquon Barkley finishes the game with more rushing touchdowns this season than Jalen Hurts. Again, my English is off here. Sorry, I'm on like 3.5 hours of sleep. So
Only Zach
context
can have
here.
a day off and lose sleep.
Yeah. Saquon Barkley has 13 rushing touchdowns this season. Jalen Hurts has 14 rushing touchdowns this season. So if you don't believe Jalen Hurts is playing, Jalen Hurts wouldn't add to that rushing touchdown total. So Saquon would need 2 more touchdowns.
Okay.
Wait, is it as many, or is it? No, it's more. So it's more. So he would need 2 rushing touchdowns. So he would need to finish +1 over Jalen Hurts in rushing touchdowns this
So he
game.
needs 2 right now.
He's 1 behind right now?
Yes.
Okay.
He's 1 behind right now.
Okay.
And it's just so at the end of this
He
game,
needs to finish
who's leading
+2.
the Eagles in rushing touchdowns? Yes. And I will start the bidding at 3.
4.
Oh, 4 to Bo.
5.
5.
Fran. Oh,
6.
6 to Fran.
7.
7 to Zach.
8.
Oh, 8 to Fran.
9.
9 to Zach.
10.
10 to Fran.
11.
Oh, wow. 11 to Zach.
He can have it for 11.
Wow.
I need to get in the game here.
I know.
11 going once.
Fran was bidding me up.
Yes.
11 going twice. Sold. Okay. 16, 13, 14. Across the board as we now prepare for the second Deniz submission.
Okie dokie. This one's normal auction.
Interesting. Jalen Hurts and Tanner McKee combine for
Wow.
more snaps than Trey Lance.
Huh. So they will use Trey Lance as like a package player every once in a while. You see that in different games. Obviously, he played a handful of snaps in relief late in the game back in week 10. You have the threat of injury. Interesting one.
There's always the possibility that Jalen plays.
Yep.
2.
2 to Bo.
A lot of paths here. 3.
3 to Fran. 3 to Fran going once.
It's got to be more.
Combined for more.
Yeah.
You're not bidding because it's as many?
I'll say 4.
Oh, 4 to Bo.
This is your theory here. Yeah.
It's not my theory. It's just a possibility.
Your antenna.
It's also Hurts could play.
Your antenna mover.
4 to Bo going once.
You can have it.
I'm going to be just sitting
Going
here watching this game with
twice.
bloodlust, like up in Kenny Pickett breaks his arm.
Michael Dunn says hello.
Yeah. All right, I'm down to 10.
10, 13 for me, 16 for Zach.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I have a fun one, I think. The largest margin during the game in terms of points is greater than the amount of turkeys that this item sells for.
Oh, the largest margin. Okay.
And
That was a fun one.
And I will start the bidding.
At any point in the game, not final margin.
At any point in the game,
Okay.
whatever the largest margin
Yeah.
is during the game,
Yeah.
it's greater than the amount of turkeys this item sells for. And I will start the bidding at 10.
10 to Bo.
11.
11 to Fran.
I can't bid.
Yours.
Wow.
11 going once. 11 going twice.
That's a fun one, Bo.
Sold. All right. Greater. So it's got to be greater than 11.
Yes.
All right. You're down to 2 turkeys. Over to you, Fran.
Seeing double. Part 3. I did this last week.
Seeing
I'm
double.
back to
Part 3.
Part 3.
I did this last
I'm
week.
coming back. Coming back to the idea here with college football playoff. Now, this won't be. We won't find out the answer to this until later. Until week next week.
Oh.
But more than one of the lower seeds in this round of the college football playoff games wins outright.
More than one.
I'll start the bidding at 2.
Yes.
What are the games?
3.
I can't
3.
bid.
What are the games?
What are the games? So we got we have Penn State,
Texas,
versus
Arizona
NC
State.
We got Texas versus Arizona State. We have Notre Dame and Georgia, and then we have Ohio State, Oregon.
Ohio State and Oregon.
And this is lower seed. Okay.
Yeah, that's lower seeds.
Okay.
Not underdog.
Yeah. So I'm at 3.
Yeah.
Right.
4.
Right?
4 to Bo.
5.
5 to Zach.
6.
6 to Bo.
7.
7 to Zach. 7 to Zach going once. Going twice.
Oh.
Oh.
8.
Oh!
Oh, no. Come on. Sold had to go there. That was the most prolonged.
She didn't. It's not me.
I'm counting.
It's on the auctioneer.
9.
Oh, 9 to Zach.
9 going once, 9 going twice. Sold. You got it.
Good job, Zach.
Thank you. Yeah, I love
So
this
Penn
one.
State is favored. Are they the only one who's favored?
No, they're the lower
Two
seed.
of the 4 are favored.
2 of the under.
2 of the 4
are
are
favored?
Or actually,
Okay.
it might even be 3. I think last I checked, I'll check Bet365. I'm pretty sure Ohio State was favored, which seems crazy.
No. But I think I don't think Ohio State's favored. I think 2 of the 4 are favored. Is Notre Dame favored?
No,
Against the backup quarterback?
Georgia was favored,
Okay.
but Texas was favored over
Okay.
Arizona State, and Penn State over
And
Boise.
Penn State against Boise.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. I am up here, and mine is simple. Doesn't need much explanation. Micah Parsons does not record a sack.
Half sacks count or no?
Good question. It has to be a full sack. He does not get a full
Okay.
sack in this game.
Does not record a full sack.
Okay, well, now we got to clarify. Do 2 half sacks count? If on the stat sheet it says he has a sack, but he didn't record a full sack.
You know what? For the sake of technicality, let's say a half a sack counts 2. Okay. So, yeah.
Well,
so if he's involved in a sack, he gets the item.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That helps.
So it has to be a 0 in the stat sheet. Okay.
Okay.
And that way we avoid all types of technicalities. A 0 in the stat sheet. And I will start the bidding at 1.
1 to Zach.
2.
2 to Fran.
3.
3 to Zach. Is that going once? Going twice?
4.
4 to Bo.
5.
5 to Zach.
You got it.
Oh. Sold to Zach.
That shiver everyone just felt through the air as Zach realized he only has 2 turkeys left in this game.
Zach has no turkeys left.
Was it none?
No, I had 7.
Yeah, he had 7.
I had
11,
7.
20. Yeah, he's used
7.
25 turkeys.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it for not.
He got he did the
thing for 9.
The college football was 9. Yep.
Okay, I apologize.
Yes.
Okay, so 7. Okay, so he's down to 2. All right, so you were both down to 2, and I'm at 10. As we enter the last. What are you smiling at?
Just nothing.
Because I added it wrong in the middle of the show. Yeah, I'm doing more things.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I'm also adding.
Okay. All right.
I'm not.
Yeah. We see that. All right, we got the final submission from Danis.
Okay, this is a Dutch auction. Counting down from 15, you can borrow from next week with extra item purchase option for the winner.
With an extra item purchase option for the winner. Okay.
Yeah.
What's that?
We'll see. All right. The Eagles win is the item, and the extra item option is the winner can also choose to buy or not buy the additional item. The Vikings and Lions both fail to win for just 2 turkeys and can still borrow from next week. Okay, so again, this is going to be a Dutch auction, which means that Julia is going to count down starting from, let's call it 23. And whoever says Swooper first will get the item that is the Eagles win. We can borrow turkeys from next week, and then whoever wins that item can also choose to buy for 2 turkeys that the Lions lose in San Francisco and the Vikings lose against Green Bay. Fran and Zach have 2 turkeys. I have 10.
Okay, now, Daniz did say from 15, though, but you want to go from 23?
Oh, he said 15?
Yeah.
Okay.
Countdown from 15.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Okay. Just want to, I don't want to get
Shows Bo's bidding high here. Yeah.
Well, I have more turkeys.
Should we start higher then?
We can borrow from next week.
I think go with Danis.
Yeah. Okay, whatever Danis
to keep
says.
things on the up and up.
Okay. I just don't want to get in trouble, you know.
Okay.
Okay. Ready?
Ready.
Zach?
Yeah, I'm set.
Okay. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11.
Swooper.
Oh,
No, all of us did it, so you should get the option.
Oh, no. Hold on. I got it right
No,
here.
all of us did it. All 3 of us did it. So we should get the option for doing it for 12 now.
Oh, I think you got it. Yeah, you got it.
He says
No.
Yeah,
We should adjudicate. No, because I chimed in as well.
Yeah,
We should get the option to do
you
it
were
like
not
we
even
did.
close.
Yeah, but he's remote. But he is remote. That's true.
So?
I think it's only fair that
So
we
we
should
should get
start
the-
bidding at 11.
No,
He's at a
12.
disadvantage.
Bidding at 12.
He's at a disadvantage. That's ridiculous.
We start the bidding at 12.
No.
That's what should be.
What
That's
happened?
what we did last week.
I told you it was coming, Zach. I told you.
No.
That's
We
right.
just played it, and you said I was first.
You beat
He
me,
wasn't-
but he jumped in.
Yeah, but that's his choice.
What's that? And so just because I'm reporting on the scene here means that I am at a competitive disadvantage, Swooper. I mean,
let me see. Where does he come in here? How late is he? He doesn't just get the excuse if he's not here, if he would have been later anyway.
So last week, why did I have to spend the extra turkey?
All right.
Well, you wanted to.
Yeah, I'm set.
You see, he's set. Here you go, 15. 14. I don't know if it's picking up on my mic or not.
Swooper. Look at how late he is.
Well, yeah, that's you got to account for the delay.
He's so late.
Look, technology doesn't always work exactly how we intended, all right?
I didn't hear Julia say it at the same time you say it. That's the reality of it, right? So I could have jumped in once before she said 11.
This is outrageous.
But so I spent an extra turkey last week. By the way, I spent 2 extra turkeys this week because you prolonged the soul. So yeah, so I think
that's well within the rights of the game.
So look, I'm not going to argue this.
Zach.
If yes.
See, that reaction time was quicker than his reaction time was to the 11.
I can see your lips moving. I can't see Julia's.
You would not have gotten this one.
I think when we all bid at the same time, the way it should be is just like I had to spend the extra turkey last week. If you feel this strongly about it, bid 12.
As somebody says, as Christopher says, you spent an extra turkey last week in person. This is different.
You know what? I will.
I will just take it for 12. Is that fair? I'll take it for 12.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. If it's not fair, I won it fair and square for 11. But so, you don't go crying around. I'll take it for 12. I'll spend the turkey on your mental health.
Are you going to buy?
Are you adding the 2 extra turkeys?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to buy it for 2. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm down
14.
So I'm minus 4 turkeys for next week, and I have the Eagles win for 12 with an asterisk, and then 2 spent on both teams losing. So to recap,
a good one.
Fran has A.J. Brown finishes the game with a catch rate over 70% for the season. He has the Eagles defense forces at least 7 combined 3-and-outs and turnovers. And there is a lead at any point in this game greater than 11. Zach has Saquon Barkley finishes this game with more touchdowns on the season than Jalen Hurts. More than 2 of the lower-seeded teams win in the college football playoff this weekend and next week. And Micah Parsons does not record a half a sack, finishes the game with no sacks. I have Tanner McKee plays a snap. At any point in this game, either team completes a pass of over 10 air yards on a double move. There is a defensive or special teams touchdown in the game. Saquon Barkley has more yards from scrimmage than CeeDee Lamb and Kevontae Turpin combined. Saquon Barkley has more yards from scrimmage during this game than CeeDee Lamb and Kevontae Turpin combined. Jalen Hurts and Tanner McKee combined for more snaps than Trey Lance. The Eagles win the game, and the Vikings and Lions both lose. You didn't like my seeing double read that one twice joke? I thought that was very, very good. Extremely witty.
I'm not selling that.
Zach, I had one more note from practice that I wanted to add in there. What's that?
Please.
Yes. Okay. You're seeing double. I see what you're doing there. Yeah. So the note from practice, and again, I'll preface this by saying I'm not typically at Thursday's practices because I'm in studio for the show. So I don't know if this occurs every Thursday, but I do think it's notable given what we discussed. Jake Elliott was the only one taking kickoffs and kickoff drills.
Interesting.
Jake Elliott was kicking off, and it wasn't like they were rotating. Braden Mann was catching the kickoffs. So again, I don't know if this is standard operating procedure for Thursdays. I did ask around to those reporters around me. They didn't know, they didn't have a firm answer for me. It is worth noting that Jake Elliott was taking kickoffs during the period open to reporters.
That is very interesting. What did you make of the Michael Clay explanations of that on Tuesday?
Yeah, I first of all, I thought good questions from you, Bo. I thought overall, I thought Clay was accountable, but I think that it kind of, you play games in the Northeast, and they were noticeably short on kicks. Now he gave explanations. Brandon Mann got the fat part of the football, he said, on one of them, but it honestly struck me as not either ill prepared for it or were just not good enough explanations. I thought it had more of an effect on the game than Nick Sirianni allowed afterwards.
Fair enough.
When I asked Nick the question in the post-game press conference, he kind of made it sound like it wasn't that big. I don't want to say he dismissed it, but I thought that was a big part of the game. I thought the best way to frame it is what Fran said in the post-game show. They gave them 17 yards. They gave them a free first down, a free passing play on that final drive, basically. So I thought that was a major problem in the game.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. All right. Anything else, Fran, before we say goodbye?
No, I think that's about it on my end.
Zach, lovely to see you. We'll see you.
Great to see you. Yeah, go on. You're doing the delay thing. Okay. I see what you're doing here, Bo. You're really playing out the delay. Look, we have Nick Sirianni's press conference tomorrow. I will see what I get out of the locker room today to decide if I'm in studio or remote tomorrow. I think a lot, I imagine Kenny Pickett's going to talk today. If it's one of these things where we think, Jalen Hurts might speak tomorrow or something like that, then I would obviously have to be at locker room. But I'm looking forward to tomorrow's show. Hopefully we have a little more clarity. Nick Sirianni speaks tomorrow at 11:40 or thereabouts, 11:50. Hopefully I can't imagine knowing Nick that he's going to come out and say who the starting quarterback is. But hopefully we have a little more information, a little more clarity for the show at 2:00 tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Zach, how was the holiday with the family?
Oh, it was great. I appreciate you asking. I love being with my family. Had a good time with them.
There's so clearly a butt coming.
No. No, they were down in Florida. My family's down in Florida all week. So I snuck down to Florida, for 48 hours, which was awesome. But I'm feeling the effects of it right now. I left this morning at I was up at 4:15, and so feeling the effects of it right now. But I'm hoping I got an empty house tonight, so I'm hoping to get a good night's sleep. I got to finish the Saquon story. Once I finish the Saquon story, I'm going to get to bed, take Advil PM, and hopefully whatever's in my chest is gone tomorrow.
Yeah, good point.
What's that?
Yeah, I mean, please do actually get to sleep. Nobody believes that you will.
Yeah, that's. No, I literally have it on my text right here. Emily is watching the show. I said, "How do I sound?" She said, "You need to go home." So
she said,
I'm in the locker room. Go. She wrote EH.
Yeah,
is what she wrote. And then she wrote, "You need to go home and sleep."
Yeah.
Yes. Please.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but no, it was, to answer your question, it was awesome being with my family. Awesome, watching football with Reed, which I don't typically get to do. So it was really cool.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, Zach, thank you very much. We will stay tuned to your social media feeds to find out the latest from the locker room, and we will talk to you tomorrow, whether here or there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, that'll do it for the PHLY Eagles podcast. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening to the show today. We'll be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock with Daniz in studio and Zach in some capacity. And then, of course, we've got you on Sunday for Eagles Cowboys kickoff show. We do have, this is the watch along, right?
Watch along.
But it's not a Fran and Cast. It's just a straight watch along. And then a post game show, obviously, afterwards with Vinny Curry, Jamie Lynch, Fran Duffy, and myself. We will talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for watching and listening. Happy holidays to everybody. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.